One family, one people, one planet, one love, one family, one people, one planet, one love.
Good morning and welcome to SoulCall Sundays. My name is Lisa Ferrero. I'm the founder and spiritual director of SoulCall Ministries. And maybe you've noticed that every second Sunday we have the great opportunity to have Reverend Christy Hardwick join us. So she's with us this week as we learn how to raise our spiritual metabolism. What in the world could that mean? Reverend Christy will walk us through that, talk us through that. Wherever you are this morning, we welcome you. And we're glad you dropped in to co-create this moment in time with us here at SoulCall Ministries, where we raise the consciousness, the global consciousness. And in doing so, we're seeing lots of things come to the fore. And being the spiritual warriors that we are, learning how to see what is really happening, be okay with what's really happening, and to energize ourselves to take the next best step, the right action toward what it is. Sometimes things happen to create a learning experience for us. As we know, as we're learning, we're growing. And so learning how to operate raising our spiritual metabolism is going to keep us vibrant and healthy. So today, let's take a moment to get grounded wherever you are, feeling the ground beneath your feet. Maybe you're sitting on the ground. Just feeling that support of beautiful Mother Earth. Right now, I'm giving thanks for the rains that are falling here, and I'm seeing with all my might rains falling out west to our friends who might be joining us from the West Coast, in Oregon, Washington State, California. May the rains find their way to the West Coast, sending light and energy to the bodies, minds, and spirits of all of the firefighters and all of those who are evacuated from their homes. We are sending them waves of peace. Direct your consciousness from your heart, allowing your soul to come through your heart and your heart to focus through the mind as we send love and light in the direction of. And in the direction of, we're sending it up to the infinite, omnipresent, omnipotent, universal consciousness who knows exactly what to do with the currency of our good intention that is filled with love and peace. Knowing that it gets there, releasing it, tuning our will with the infinite will of the divine. And may we be awake and ready to do what is ours to do. May we see what is ours to see in the moment and know that whatever that is, it's because it's something for us to know, something that we might need to assimilate, to grow, some good information. There's always room to perfect and refine, up-leveling the excellence of our consciousness. In raising our spiritual metabolism, we bring in more light to ourselves. And I'm going to repeat an affirmation. I'll say it once through, and then we'll repeat it 3 times together before we take it into a meditation. I am submerged in eternal light. It permeates every particle of my being. I live in this light. Divine Spirit fills me within and without. Now affirm. I am submerged in eternal light. It permeates every particle of my being. I live in this light. Divine Spirit fills me within and without. This time a little softer. I am submerged in eternal light. It permeates every particle of my being. I live in this light. Divine Spirit fills me within and without. I am submerged in eternal light. It permeates every particle of my being. I live in this light. Divine Spirit fills me within and without. Now let this music wash over you, through you. Just allow yourself to be calmly centered, calmly active, actively calm in this beautiful moment. And taking one more deep breath in, bringing your consciousness back to wherever it is you are joining us from. It's your room. Just feeling your feet on the ground again, opening your eyes, taking in the beauty with gratitude for all that we have. I'm giving great thanks for all that we have this morning, welcoming Reverend Christy Hardwick, dear friend and valuable part of the SoulCall Ministries team, to talk to us this morning about raising your spiritual metabolism. Welcome, Reverend Christy. Hi.
Vibration of gratitude. I'm in the vibration of gratitude coming out of that meditation, and my first gratitude, what I'm feeling right away, is gratitude for the SoulCall Ministries team and the way we work together and the way Spirit works through us to come up with these ideas like spiritual metabolism. I love that I get to speak on that today. So we begin. As I thought about spiritual metabolism, I first went to the word metabolism and said, what do I know about that? I don't know about you, but many times metabolism was the thing that was pointed to about how you manage your energy and how you process food and how you process everything in your body. And I looked it up. I had to actually look it up and say, what is metabolism? And the definition said it's a sum of processes. So the sum of processes in an organism in which material substances are produced, maintained, and destroyed. I hadn't thought about it in that way, they're both produced and destroyed. And then sometimes homeostasis where it's being maintained. But this metabolism, this use of physical energy is running in our body all the time. We're either producing energy, we're maintaining a particular energy, and sometimes we're actually destroying things in our body that don't serve us. The metabolism can do that. I think you've probably read a lot about eating certain kinds of foods that will cleanse the body, that will help it work more effectively and efficiently. And so we can make choices about what actually goes inside. Because what we eat and what we breathe in and the environment we're in determines how efficiently and effectively we can utilize the energy of the body. Has anyone ever felt sluggish? And if you felt sluggish, did you notice what you had eaten before, or whether or not you had enough water to allow the body to do this wonderful process of metabolizing energy on our behalf? I notice it a lot. I notice that certain kinds of foods will allow me to have more energy than others. Things that are alive, things that are natural, things that come from Mother Earth give me this wonderful energy. So the metabolism works well when we give it something wonderful, something natural, something recognizable to the body. And when we give it something that's not recognizable, that might be too processed or full of chemicals, or something that is difficult to digest or move, we notice that our energy is lower. Food has vibration. It's alive. When we're eating food that's not alive, it has either zero vibration or almost a negative weight coming into us. So this is our physical metabolism. And I know that I always thought that my metabolism was established by my genes, by my DNA, by what I inherited. And in my family, there was a lot that was encoded in order to save food, because there was a time in the history of our family where there might not have been that much food. So you hold on to what you have. And that can be true. You can't have a metabolism that's established from your genes, from your DNA, from your history. But there's this wonderful study that people have been very immersed in of late, especially, called epigenetics, which has to do with the expression of the genes. We don't always have to express what is in our genome or what's in our history, in our DNA from our family of origin, for example, or even our ancestry. We don't have to express it. And if we don't express it, what is the difference? It has to do with the environment that we create, the food we eat, the level of stress or not stress, the beauty we're surrounded by, the thoughts we think. All those things can have an effect on the expression of genes or a pattern that is present but not necessarily activated. So at the physical level, we're designed this way. And the beauty of creation is that there's always some mimicry between our physical, our mental, emotional, and our spiritual. So if there is a pattern that's established over time about our physical metabolism and how we manage energy and process it and what is available to us, then there must also be a pattern to our divine or spiritual metabolism. In thinking about that, I wondered, what is the root of the food for our spiritual metabolism? What is it that we put in that's going to help it operate in an optimal way? And what is the divine pattern? We know that the divine pattern has perfection in it, that it is always and ever present in a perfect way of processing love continually. So if we think of the inheritance we have spiritually, it's the inheritance of love. Whereas in the physical plane, it might have been a different kind of inheritance. In the spiritual plane, we have the inheritance of love. So this divine pattern is operating at all times. Now, whether we express it or not has something to do with that environment that we create. The environment of what we think about, what we put inside our mind, what we put inside our emotions, and what we put inside our body. It all matters. In thinking about how much we utilize the beautiful spiritual energy that we have, how well we metabolize it, we have to think in terms of how we show up. One of the beautiful things and distinctions that our wonderful founder has shared is the distinction between spiritual practice and spiritual practice. And the way that she talks about it is that when we're doing things like meditation, and when we're doing things like singing beautiful words, when we're doing things like reading spiritual texts, or doing things like yoga, This is like building up. It's building up our energy. It's building up our spiritual center. It's building up. It's charging. And then when we're out in the world, we actually have to practice what we've built up. What is it that we express after we've done these spiritual charging exercises? What do we actually do in the world? We get out there and we practice it. So this idea of spiritual metabolism, I have come to understand, has a lot to do with our identity and what we identify with. Do we identify with the body alone? Do we identify with our family, our community, our state, our country, our political party? Those identifications are limited. I listened to a beautiful talk. There was a guru, Sadhguru from India, speaking to students in Columbia University. And they were struggling with many different kinds of things. And they were feeling the pain of this current moment and how challenging things were. And he asked them, what are you identifying with? You as the individual body in these situations, you as this particular ethnicity, you as this gender, you as this political party, you as a liberal or a conservative. Where is your identification? You as this nation, you as some other nation. All of these identifications are limiting. And these identifications are what cause us to feel separation from this divine pattern that we all operate from. So where in the physical, we may move in order to allow our metabolism to move and to function well. In the spiritual metabolism, we're still. Where we may be extremely active and get things done at the physical level of our metabolism. Instead, in spiritual metabolism, we become aware. So stillness and awareness rather than movement and effort. It doesn't mean that we don't move and make effort in our physical lives. It means that in order to build up the spiritual metabolism, stillness and awareness are required. And then let's connect the dots to identity. When we are identified with the body and we're concerning ourselves about what we eat and how much we move and those kind of things, it's perfect working with this physical body. But when we want to identify with spirit, what is our identity? Is it contained in the body? Is it contained in our party? Is it contained in our family of origin? Is it contained in our being Italian or Spanish or African American? Or is it the cosmos? At least the world, right? So if our identification is with something greater, that something greater is what gives us our spiritual metabolism. And what do we do with this spiritual metabolism? Every day, as we identify with something greater, with the cosmos, with spirit, with universe, and at least with the world, we are able to metabolize what comes into our experience back to that original divine pattern of love, which we are made of. So we can express the divine pattern because we identify with the divine. And every day we are working on this process all the time. We're working on the process of identification. We notice ourselves identifying with things happening in the world, or things happening in our body, or things happening in our family, or things happening in some other system. We notice that we're identifying with that. And we notice that what comes with that sometimes is pain and suffering. And while we don't immediately need to metabolize that into love, we want to have at our disposal the tool of spiritual metabolism in order to, at any time, should we choose, to metabolize that situation, that condition, into love, back to that highest vibration of our identification with the greater thing. I love the idea of the spiritual metabolism. And this opportunity to speak with you about it has given me such a deep thought about when and how I'm identifying with what. When I'm identifying with things that are happening that are challenging and difficult in the world. I can have compassion and empathy, but do I need to actually identify as that thing? Or can I remain identified with the cosmos while I have compassion and empathy for what's happening in the world? Because what will I be able to express? I can express complete compassion and empathy and understanding for something very challenging that's in the body, in the community, with an individual. And at the same time, I can see through to the divine pattern in the situation, knowing that it's always operating. And at the level of consciousness, at the level of the cosmos, at the level of the universal source, all is well. Because love operating as the power, beauty, and presence of all things is always operating, no matter what the appearance is. This is something that we can all benefit from contemplating. Contemplate for yourself. What is my spiritual metabolism like? How is it operating? How long does it take, or how challenging is it for me to metabolize or transform the circumstances around me into the experience of connection and identification with one, with cosmos, with universal source? How well is my metabolism functioning? There's a beautiful quote that I wrote down and I wanted to share with you today because I read spiritual things every single day and I'm always finding wisdom in so many places. I'm sure you do. This one's from Tema Keeves, and she wrote many books, but one of them is called The Year Without Fear. Receive this moment as it is, not asking it to change. Receive its sustenance, surprises, companionship, and dimension. I love that idea. Receiving this moment as it is, the moment as it is, not asking it to change. You see, we don't have to change the external circumstances when we identify with the cosmos and we're aware and we're still and we know. We can receive the sustenance, surprises, and companionship and dimension in that moment while transforming it back to the beautiful love from which it came. As metaphysicians and people who study and practice and contemplate the idea of there being only one source of life in this universe, there being only one power, one presence, every time we can remind ourselves to return to that, we can transform any moment that we're in. And the big and, we can be empathetic and compassionate about what's happening in the world. And we can be a vibration that's identified with something greater to allow the transformation to happen moment to moment, receiving every moment as it is, not asking it to change, but transforming from within our perspective and raising the consciousness of everyone whose lives we touch and everyone whose words we hear and who hears the words of our mouth and the words of our heart. And I hope that the words of my heart today have been helpful to you. I appreciate all of you. And I am so, so grateful to have this opportunity to raise my spiritual metabolism with you. Thank you.
Amazing as always. It's such a treat to be with you and to have your wisdom with us here at SoulCall Ministries. We are so grateful. And in raising our spiritual metabolism, it's so fun. I could see Joy McPherson. Hi, Joy. I was just about to say your name as the action word of raising our spiritual metabolism sometimes is a reminder in the cells to hold on to joy, keeping that joy in our cells, no matter what it is we're seeing, just as Reverend Christy was sharing with us, how to maintain that connection with consciousness. And this next song is so funny to me. It was written by Ann Heaton, where her two daughters, they had just cleaned the car. If you're a parent, you can get this, and bought their daughters donuts. So the rule was no eating in the car because now the car is cleaned. And so one or the other of them, I think it was Helen, who asked the little daughter, I don't want to eat the donut, I just want to hold the donut. So it becomes this fun, hilarious thing. Sometimes holding the donut prolongs the joy, but we know what happens next. And as Yogananda says, getting to that place where we aren't living in the world of duality. Sleep is all right, no sleep is all right. Eating is all right, no eating is all right. Donuts are all right, no donuts. Whatever it is you're doing, your spiritual metabolism, if it's in alignment with what the body is doing, like what Reverend Christy was saying, it all becomes joy. So we hope in the spirit of joy, this helps to boost your spiritual metabolism. This little claymation song called I Just Want to Hold the Donut.
Is it our turn yet? Why is there such a long line? I want chocolate, chocolate with sprinkles this time. Can I eat it now? Okay, not in the car. I can eat it at home, but home is so far. I just wanna hold the donut. I'm not gonna eat it yet. I just wanna hold it. I'm not gonna eat it yet. Why are we stopping here? Ooh, can I have one too? He gets a toy for his birthday. Oh, but I never do. So can I eat it now? Yes, my seatbelt is on. I promise I won't spill. Oh, come on. I just wanna hold the donut. I'm not gonna eat it yet. I just wanna hold it. I'm not gonna eat it yet. Oh.
Mom? Mom? Hey, Mom? Mommy? Mama? Mommy? Dad?
I just wanna hold the donut. I'm not gonna eat it yet. I just wanna hold it. I'm not gonna eat it yet. I just wanna hold the donut. I'm not gonna eat it yet. I just wanna hold it. I'm not gonna eat it yet.
Woo! That was fun. Shush, shush.
I hope you found the joy in that. It's just so funny, and the one of my favorite parts is the mom, mama, mom, mom. Sometimes that's how we insist on the thing we want. And if we can raise our spiritual metabolism through the tools of spiritual practice, which we can, when we call forth from the infinite, when that's the only thing that we want more than the things of this world, it's amazing how our lives shift and how we work in tandem with the direction of the director of the universe. It's an amazing experience. So thank you again, Reverend Christy, for the fabulous class you've been teaching on nutrition, body, mind, spirit nutrition. And I think we're going to either repeat that class or take it to the next level later in the fall. But coming up next Sunday, we're very excited to offer September 20th at 11 o'clock from 11 to 12. Dina Bobby is going to offer, she's an amazing jewelry maker, and she's going to teach us how to make our own mala beads, our own prayer beads. So if you go to soulcallministries.org/events and classes, you can find the mala bead workshop from 11 to 12 next week. All the information is there. And we also thank you all so much for your donations to support SoulCall Ministries, soulcallministries.org/donations. No amount is too large or too small. And we've been ramping up our support for the food banks, for the people who are in need of food right now. Also with the Columbus community, supporting the children who are in the Columbus City School District who are not meeting in schools just yet. That's putting a lot of other children at risk for food insecurities. So we're doing our part with your donations to make sure our area is taken care of Columbus, Ohio. But if you have a similar circumstance in your city, please let us know. Share that with us at info@soulcallministries.org. And if you'd like to become part of our Soul Squad, our Universal Soul Squad, send us an email at soulsquad@soulcallministries.org. And also, we've been praying a lot this week for our friends on the West Coast. If you are in need of prayer, we've got a fantastic prayer team, deeply spiritual, connected people who would love to pray for you. Please send us an email at prayers@soulcallministries.org. And along those lines, a lot of people are back in school this week. Last week, some people started back to school. No matter what the situation is, we've connected with Dr. Sharna Olfman, She'll be joining me this Wednesday for Wake Up with the Consciousness Cafe. She is the editor of a book series called Childhood in America. She's a doctor of developmental psychology, and she's got some valuable insights to share with parents who are trying to juggle a lot right now. So for the next 2 weeks, she'll be talking with us about how we can navigate more effectively through this global pandemic as we re-enter school, and how our college-age students' situation, their world looks a little different than they might have expected as well. So this Wednesday and next Wednesday, she's going to join us for a 2-part series to help us navigate as families as best we can through the global pandemic and the re-entry into the school opportunity. So wherever you are on your spiritual path, we thank you for dropping in to SoulCall Ministries. Lots of information at soulcallministries.org. And mostly, no matter where you are on the planet, know that you are loved. See you next week.